Jack Chrysler.
Jack Chrysler.
On my hat.
On your hat.
Initial just for me, and so it's my band.
It's your band. It's Chrysler.
It's Chrysler.
For me too.
For you too.
Makes your watch look better than new.
Quality, style, and value too. For the best band in the land. It's Chrysler. Makes your watch look better than new. Makes it personal just for you. It's Chrysler.
Good evening, goblins and ghouls, and welcome to the Wednesday night Scream Stream Mini-sode. I'm your host, Spakenstein, joined as always by my very good friend, Mr. Evan Sink.
Good evening.
How we doing tonight, Evan?
We're living it up here on another Wednesday.
Living it up?
On
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah, man, another Wednesday.
It's a show.
It's
a show you could watch.
that you may be watching right now, because if you didn't know, if you can't tell by looking at the top right hand corner of your screen, we're live. So you may be watching
It's
this
alive.
live. Yeah, I mean, we're always alive over here every Wednesday and Friday nights. You can catch us over here alive, and we're always yucking it up and having fun with public domain horror and sci-fi. As of late, we've been mixing in some, adjacent genres. Sci-fi is an adjacent genre. That's
From the title of tonight's episode, I'd almost think we're getting into some fantasy.
Well, you would think that. I don't know. I'll let you be the judge. I guess technically it's fantasy, but isn't all science fiction essentially just fantasy? I mean, I know what you mean by the definition. I get what your application of the word in this context. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely, it sounds like something that would be a part of more of a fantasy kind of Lord of the Rings style world. Because tonight we're watching another episode of Tales of Tomorrow, and this episode tonight is entitled "The Crystal Egg." I'm gonna say it like that. I'm gonna say egg instead of egg, just to drive everybody crazy, Egg, yeah, the Crystal Egg. But again, it sounds like a fantasy title.
It sounds like something you might find under Smaug's pile of gold.
Yeah, well, just tossed to the side with all the other riches and jewels and treasures.
Just another treasure.
Yeah, what is this? Just throw this crystal egg on top of the pile. If it breaks, it's all right. It's insured by the Lloyds of London.
Wait a second. This crystal egg is assured.
Oh no! You're telling me I'm not getting any money back for this? Nope. We're just gonna let you know how sorry we are for your loss.
Yeah, that's why Smaug was so angry. That's why he burned the town down.
Well, then he had every right. Then he was justified, I guess. Because that's some pretty underhanded contract manipulation there. Who's really? You're just seeing the assurance. You're not looking to see if it's an insurance or an assurance. You're just seeing the assurance, and you're like, all right, I got assurance. Great, we're covered. It's
all
like
shirt up.
They're like, well, now hold on a second, because may not be the assurance that you're looking for. So we'll see. We'll see what's. I mean, again, just the sound of a crystal egg. Obviously, its fragility will probably be a main crux of the conflict in tonight's episode. I would, because it sounds
it's
very fragile.
It might be doubly fragile. I mean, eggs are usually pretty fragile, but a crystal egg sounds even more so.
They're really upping the stakes, you know. That's a crystal egg. No,
we made a Fabergé egg out of quartz.
You're right. Yeah, it shines so brilliantly, but it's worth absolutely nothing.
Paper thin.
Yeah. So we'll see. This is actually, see if this can kind of clue you in on where it's going to go tonight. Tonight's episode is actually based on a short story by H.G. Wells. So,
okay.
Yeah. So,
interesting.
See if you can.
Can I tell the audience the hint that you gave me before the show?
Absolutely.
That tonight's episode is a kind of a mix of the previous two we've seen.
Yeah, if that gives you any kind of a clue or hint as to the plot of tonight's episode, but you got to think, if you need a refresher, first episode was time travel. Last week, Mars. So
this week, time travel on Mars.
I don't know. This is one that I haven't really seen, but I own it on DVD. It was like, it came with the Lon Chaney Frankenstein episode, which of course was the whole reason I wanted to, that would happen to me where I'd get like a disc with multiple movies or a disc set with multiple movies, but I'm only really interested in just one of the things. But then inevitably you end up watching the other stuff most of the time. That's how I stumbled onto a lot of other public domain horror movies, is because usually there was, when we talked about it, the first episode of this season with the Screaming Skull, it was on the same disc as Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. Again, anything that had Frankenstein in it, you sold me, I'm in, right? So naturally you got some other stuff thrown in there, I'm gonna probably watch it, but I can't say that I really paid too much attention to the crystal egg. I think it played at one point, but I got distracted watching it. So it's practically brand new to me. So we'll see, but it should be interesting. I don't know. I mean, again, it's, this will be our third episode of Tales of Tomorrow. It's been a pretty fun show so far. Again, it is a sci-fi anthology, one of the firsts, and it is live television. And I think already in the first two episodes, we've seen the limits and the strengths of live TV. There's, positives and negatives to being live, as we can attest to. Because when it's all going, when it's all going according to plan, it's great. But when, a gun falls out of a holster or the Caligari curse strikes you, technically, you got to keep the show going. That's what we saw last week with the Leslie Nielsen episode, and apparently the climactic fight kind of got messed up according to some interviews after the fact we talked about. And I don't have any interesting facts about tonight's episode, but still again, H.G. Wells in the lead tonight. He hadn't been on any movies in this show, but Thomas Mitchell, who was like a very popular character actor in the 40s and the 30s. He's like in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. He's a newspaper man. And he's
the newspaper man.
Yeah, and he won an Oscar for Stagecoach, playing the drunk doctor who's just kind of like getting drunk the whole time, but then then he's called on to kind of like use his skills, and he has to clean up, it's a good role. He's a great actor. And so it'll be interesting to see him here. And I believe he's playing a
You know the
scientist.
thing about being an alcoholic doctor,
What is it?
you can sterilize people's wounds with your breath.
Ooh,
Breathe on them.
hidden skill to being an alcoholic doctor. Things they don't teach you in medical school. You'll learn that one on the job, right? Residency. That's where you figure that one out.
Yeah, I did my residency at the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, and I did half my residency in the hospital bar, and the other half treating people's wounds with my breath.
Hard Knocks General.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty reputable hospital. Yeah, I mean, they're entirely donation funded. Keeping it charitable. If you want to donate to Hard Knocks General, please. Anything else before we get into tonight's episode, Evan?
Yeah, which came first, the crystal chicken or the crystal egg?
Ooh, well, I don't know. I think before any of those, you got to have a crystal ball, right?
Okay.
So the crystal ball came first. We know that.
Yeah, well, if we had a crystal ball, we would know the answer.
It's very true. Well, again, maybe there's something to that. Let's see. All right.
Anybody in the audience with a crystal ball, get on it.
Yeah, if you got an answer for us, you go ahead and don't let us suffer through this. Go ahead and let us know. All right. Well, Evan, if you have it queued up.
I do.
Hold on, let me make sure I've got it queued. I do. Okay. Then we are going to go ahead and get into the exciting beginning of Tales of Tomorrow, the Crystal Egg. Right now. Turn it down. Tales of Tomorrow.
Science fiction dramas that explore the unknown. Presented by Jacques Chrysler. The name that means
It's the first time I've heard of them say it like almost like Jacques and not Jack.
Tonight, our tale of tomorrow is The Crystal Egg by H.G. Wells. And starring Thomas Mitchell.
Oh wow, right there. Oh,
What would you do
still in the
if
credits.
you thought someone from another world was watching you? Tonight, we present The Crystal Egg, starring Thomas Mitchell.
My name is Vanyek. I'm a man of science, and I've been chairman of the physics department at Cambridge these past 10 years.
Ooh, Cambridge.
I am, I believe, well respected by my colleagues, and I publish several important papers, as well as 3 books. My contribution as a scientist is a matter of record, but this will not help the case I plead, for already some of my colleagues are hinting that I'm acting strangely. Vanyek is having hallucinations, but this affects only me, and there is something else involved. There is involved the welfare of this country, perhaps the world. If something happens to me, this will be the only record of the strange events that started that evening
Literally.
in the shop in the West End.
Man, that's a pretty involved street set.
No. Yes, sir. Is something I can show you, sir?
Yes, the crystal crystal egg in the window. I should like to buy it.
The crystal egg, yes, sir. It's an interesting piece. Now, here we are, sir. It's a good-looking piece, what?
Fine. If you will wrap it, please.
Yes. Excuse me just a minute, sir. It doesn't seem to be marked.
Well, why don't you look in the book? Huh. It's part of that junk we bought from Parsons. Can't be worth more than 10 bob. We only paid 2 quid for the lot.
No.
Oh yeah, here we go. Bob's, quids, lots.
That one.
And the customer seems anxious to buy.
I haven't much time.
We haven't discussed the price. That'll be £5.
How many gold galleons is that
For
worth?
a piece of crystal?
Oh, but sir, this...
I'll give you £1.
A pound!
Oh, dear. Oh, you shocked my wife. Oh, £1 indeed. No, sir, the price is £5 under steel at that, sir.
Nice. Highball him.
Master negotiator.
£2.10. That's all I have.
I don't it, sir.
But I was told to.
Nope.
Very well. I'll return with the money.
Of course, sir, if someone should come in and be...
Hold it for me.
The name, please.
I said I'd be back. You'll recognize me.
Idiot. £5 for a bit of junk like that. He'll never be back.
He'll be back. And when he comes next time, I tell him I made an error. I should have asked £10.
What?
Oh my god.
He seemed very anxious to buy the crystal egg.
Wow.
Might it not be possible, dearie, that this is a particularly valuable kind of crystal?
Knows what he's got.
About this. It's a strange piece.
You're the strange one.
Perhaps.
Got him.
I think I'll call Professor Vanier.
Ooh.
I'd like the good professor to take a look at this crystal egg.
Oh, you're crazy.
I'm crazy. Was I? Wait. Professor Vanier. This is Cave. Yes, Cave of the Curio Shop, sir. Yes, I have a favor to ask of you.
Curio shop. Hell yeah.
I came so close, so terribly close to telling him I was too busy. I'd purchased several items from his shop and paid well for them, so I owed him no favors. Perhaps I too wondered why anybody would pay £5 for a piece of crystal. So I said I'd see him.
When that man comes over, we'll never get to the flicks.
Did you really have your heart set on it?
Well, it's not that important. But perhaps we could tomorrow night.
That I most definitely promise.
Do I disturb you? I mean, can you get your work with me done, with me hanging around here and all?
I'd say you were a slight disturbance.
I could go.
Oh, no, stay.
You know what I wonder?
What?
I wonder how an educated man like you finds a girl like me interesting.
Nonsense. We complement each other.
Oh?
Go together, like tea and crumpets. Like Georgette and the professor.
Oh.
But I would like to see my visitor alone.
Oh, of course.
Oh, now, Georgette, I'm not sending you away, darling. You know how much you mean to me. But in this case, well, this man lives in the neighborhood, and he's a talkative little buzzard. And people do like to talk about old bachelor professors. Run along now, darling, and go out the back way.
All right.
Oh wow, damn.
The cinema tomorrow night.
I will.
Good night, Daphne.
Good night, dear. Come in.
Good evening, Professor. Good evening. Hey, good of you to see me, sir.
Hello.
Oh, my. Oh, this is nice. Oh, here's a piece of mine, one item of mine. How well it looks in the room, sir.
Thank you. I'm sorry I can't ask you to sit down, but I'm pressed for time. Examination papers.
Yes, of course, I understand. Well, this won't take more than a moment of your time, Professor. Now, I would like to ask you, sir, what is this?
Huh? Crystal.
What do you make of this?
Very ordinary crystal.
Ordinary crystals. Are you sure, sir? Is there no way of testing it?
Well, if you want to leave it here when I get time, I'll examine it.
Under your glass, the
Yes.
spectroscope, sir? Oh, that would be fine. That would show it up, wouldn't it, sir?
Yes.
Could you do it now?
Oh, no, I can't.
No, of course not, sir. Well, in that case, sir, I'll leave it here and I won't take up any more.
Just leave it right here on your desk where you're
How-
shuffling around all
How
these
about
papers.
now? Can you do it now?
All right.
Is now a good time? Just handling that thing like a football.
Go long.
Oh. Oh shit.
He's hooked.
Whoa.
I worked all night. I couldn't stop. In all my years of research, I'd never seen anything like this. Nor did any of my books and charts help. Of only one thing was I certain. This landscape was not of this earth.
Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick.
Yes.
Is this Professor Vernick? Oh, I didn't wake you, sir.
Wake me. So, what time is it?
It's 9 o'clock, sir. Have you any news for me, sir?
News? Oh, okay. Yes, I haven't had time to take a look at your crystal.
Oh, but sir, the customer's coming this morning.
Stall them off. Maybe I'll get a chance to look at it this morning. Call me later. The crystal became my life. I didn't even go to my classes. I worked feverishly. And I began to make progress. Slowly but certainly, the strange landscape in the crystal became clearer and clearer. I was able to distinguish certain features of the terrain. Landmarks became visible. The spectroscope readings indicated that the atmosphere of this landscape was different from ours. The mineral content of the mountain ranges were of no earthly origin. There was only one possible conclusion. I was looking at another planet.
Oh. And I saw 3 guys fighting in the background, and I don't know what they were fighting about.
Yes. What do you want?
What do I want? Have you forgotten our date for the cinema tonight?
I'm sorry, darling. Awfully sorry. I've been terribly busy.
Have you now? Well, look. If you're shoving me out, just say so. I can take a hint. I know when shop closes. Nobody has hit me over the head.
Oh, now, please. Georgette.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know you're frightfully busy, and I've no right to make demands, so whenever you're free.
No, you make demands all you want. You're entitled to them.
I'll let myself out.
Thank you, Georgette, for being so thoughtful. My brain was reeling. I was exhausted, feverish. But there was no stopping. Finally, the landscape came into focus. Sharp, clear.
HD.
Close to the horizon was Saturn, in ascending aspect to Neptune. This was
Ooh.
the answer.
So not that far of an alien world.
To the crystal egg, I was looking at a landscape on Mars. And then
Oh!
Ah!
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Yikes. Oh my god, dude. And we will take a break right there. I'm at 12:33. Wow, that was the first half of the Crystal Egg, and I gotta say, like, it was pretty slow until it wasn't slow. Right there at the end.
That last little bit was pretty cool.
I was not expecting him to see
kind of a feel.
a monster this early. That definitely caught me off guard.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like that. I hope we get to see that alien again. We didn't like, cause last week we were on Mars, but the aliens were just off screen.
We didn't even
two smug sounding guys.
Right. Yeah, I mean, definitely judging by the sounds of their voices, they didn't look like giant one-eyed like blob monsters, but they very easily could have. I'd love it if this blob monster spoke like that.
Could be.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
Reginald.
it could be the same character.
Yeah. Could be.
I think last week one of the aliens called the other one Craig.
Is it Craig?
Yeah, Craig.
Oh my god.
Until we're corrected, I'm just going to assume that this is Craig.
When you know, you get to Mars and you find out all the aliens have the most normal plain names. It's not, you don't get like freaking like Klaxars, you know, some wild weird alien names. You just get
Roger,
Craig. No, it's nice that it's nice though that we actually get to see the Martian this week, and yeah, that was a grotesque looking monster, I gotta say. So if that's what Martians look like, I don't know. I don't know if we want to be colonizing that planet. Cause I don't know. It doesn't look like the most friendly creature. But I don't know. I mean, so so what do we think so far? This guy has hijacked this crystal. He's now seeing Mars, and he's seen an alien. So like,
yeah, you could say this guy's hooked on crystal.
Yeah, man, crystal has ruined his life, dude. Already within the span of like a few hours, his life is completely spiraled out of control.
Crystal egg, not even once.
Dude, it's really bad stuff. So we'll see. He's gonna OD on this crystal, and it's gonna be really sad. This alien's gonna have no way to lure humans to its planet. Like it's just interesting.
He's gonna be too busy taking apart his lawnmower to talk with this alien.
Okay. Yeah, or I could definitely see that. I mean, crystal makes you do all kinds of crazy things. So yeah, we'll
it does make you think that you're being watched. So
I mean, well, I don't think there's any thinking about it. I mean, he's come face to face with that eye to eyes, and
face to face with a space alien.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll see. I don't know. What's I mean, we'll see if this egg, maybe it's a two-way communication device. Maybe if he can see the Martian, can it see him? I don't know.
Oh yeah, is he a peeping Tom?
They're both just peeping on each other. It seems like. I mean, what is it? these intergalactic looky-loos. Well, not intergalactic, interplanetary. Man.
So you mean when I looked in that egg and the alien said, "Hey boy," he was talking to me? I was the boy?
I was the boy. Oh my god, I was watching. You weren't with me when I was watching that the other day. I've been like.
Yeah, I think so. I was.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I was thinking about that.
Yep. Okay. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean that's the same, the same kind of cluelessness. Is maybe the alien has no clue that he's being watched. Oh, I thought this was just like a TV. I didn't know this guy's actually looking in on me. I'm not decent. I mean, that alien's definitely not. The alien's a lot of things. Decent is definitely not. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they did the effects there. I mean, it was, I'm sure it didn't take too much, but the way that it was kind of like moving around, and I know the eye didn't blink. Maybe it did, but I don't think it did. But just the whole, the way that the camera, it was like panned down to it. Yeah, there was like a transition to it. It wasn't like they just cut to it or they just popped up. It was like a nice little kind of like a build up and then I gotcha. I guess it kind of reminded me of when we watched Lights Out and there was the Martian Eye, or was it the Martian Eyes? And they kind of,
I think it was
eye or eyes, plural or
eye
singular.
or eyes.
Not sure, can't remember. But it the way that they use shadow there to kind of create a little bit of a build up and then kind of hit you with a surprise. It's funny the way this kind of used a camera movement to kind of do the same thing, kind of like steadily kind of build up to this thing you're not really expecting. I was not expecting to see an alien yet. I thought they'd save it for the end. So.
Yeah, no.
We better get more alien action right
I thought he might like.
So were you saying you thought he might what?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he might just have gone crazy for a while, and then maybe they put the alien at the end or something.
Yeah, that would have been. I mean, again, we talked about this last week. If this was one step beyond the veil, you wouldn't see the alien at all. You wouldn't get any kind of alien. So that's what makes it so cool that this is live TV and that they're showing you a monster, an alien. It's not just, we're going to tease you. Is this thing happening or not? Is it all in this guy's mind? Boo, show me a monster. I want to see a gross creature. What you got?
Yeah, we haven't had a monster on this show yet.
No.
It feels like it's been a while since we've had a monster period.
I think
on Wednesday.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I don't even think in 13 Demon Street we had ghosts, but I don't remember any. I guess that plant, that plant was pretty good. That man-eating plant. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
It killed that guy. Maybe it wasn't man-eating. It was a vine. That's in it. It killed a guy. That was pretty good, but not really a monster.
Man-strangling plant.
Yeah, man-strangling plant would definitely be a description of that. But yeah, we really have not had too many monsters on these mini-sodes, so it's nice even with this more sci-fi inclined show. Got a little bit alien. Why is it always like Mars and Martians? What is it?
It's the only planet they'd heard of back then.
I guess so, man. It's like the diorama projects in grade school hadn't really become a thing yet. So they really just, Mars and Pluto were the only planets people really knew.
Maybe they thought it was scarier just to like have it like, oh, the monster's just next door on Mars and not like across the galaxy.
I guess there's definitely a proximity thing to it, right? Like just the idea that, oh, it's a neighboring planet, you know?
Even though it's like saying, oh my god, there's a bear in Canada.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's like, okay, that's scary, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, not really a problem down here. Not really gonna affect me here. Life, no life on Mars. Who knows? It's, you know, it's pretty, I don't know. It's pretty interesting to see this interpretation of a Martian. I don't think that, you know, you get a pretty wide, like, what's the word? Like, I guess just you get a range in people's interpretations of what a Martian could look like. You know, there's not like a
Martian morphology.
It's funny, you think of like how certain images of certain creatures or monsters or, you know, any of that stuff, certain images will just stick. You know, everybody has this pretty much the same idea of what a Bigfoot looks like. You know, everybody has like the same idea of what, I mean, you know, most people, when you say the word alien, everybody thinks of like the oval shaped head and the black eyes and it's green, right? But when you're talking about a Martian specifically, there's not like any kind of a set. Even Marvin Martian isn't like, that's not who I think of when I think of Martian.
Yeah. You think of a little guy wearing a helmet.
I mean, it's, you know, it's definitely he's a contender, but Marvin the Martian, you know, you don't, kind of an underrated Looney Tune, you know, you don't really see, I don't feel like there must have been too many Marvin Martian shorts back in the day. No, he became more of a thing, I think, like within the last 20, 30 years. But I don't know. Still just not like, oh yeah, that's what a Martian looks like. You know, what is he? The helmet's covering up his face. You can't see if he's got a gross face or not, right? You just see his eyes. And I mean, again, if this show is to be believed, you only get one eye. So, well, but the interesting thing about all this, and that, you know, with this episode is the H.G. Wells connection that we have here. Because
because these other ones have they been based on stories?
Not by a writer of this caliber, I don't think. You know, other ones might have been based on pre-existing stories. I'm not sure. But this obviously had been written sometime before this episode was made. And it was actually written around the same time that H.G. Wells was releasing a serialized version of one of his most famous science fiction stories, War of the Worlds, which, again, aliens. But I don't know. I haven't read War of the Worlds or really watched any of the movies. I don't know if they're Martians. I don't know what the aliens are, what planet they hail from. Are you looking it up? He's doing some...
They are indeed Martians.
They are Martians. Okay.
They are Martians.
Okay, wow. All right. Well, that's good. So I guess, you know, there's some connection points between the two stories, you know. I don't know. I haven't read War of the Worlds. I don't really know too much about it. But it's cool that they're also Martians, and that, and I guess he was just comfortable writing about Martians at the time. Makes sense, you know.
Yeah, just on a Martian kick.
Yeah, although I'd love to know what his description of a Martian was in his story version of the crystal egg. Because
based on the you'll have to look at the illustration during the break, because I don't know, there wasn't a quote attached to that. I don't know but they look pretty wild.
Okay, interesting. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, so going along with the War of the Worlds connection, we're actually for the break, instead of, because let me tell you, there aren't really too many Chrysler and Maslin carpet commercials out there. You know, if they come up, the only time that I really can guarantee them is when they're already a part of the episode that we're watching. But tonight's episode didn't have the commercials included. So for the break, we're going to get a trailer for the 1953 adaptation of War of the Worlds, which again, I have not seen, but supposed to be a pretty kind of epic sci-fi movie for its time. And, you know, again, iconic story, iconic writer. So, we're going to get this trailer, and then when we come back, we'll get into the exciting conclusion of H.G. Wells' The Crystal Egg. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This could be the beginning of the end for the human race. For what men first thought were meteors or the often ridiculed flying saucers are in reality the flaming vanguard of the invasion from Mars. This could be the beginning of the end for the human race. For what men first thought were meteors or the often ridiculed flying saucers are in reality the flaming vanguard of the invasion from Mars. This could be the beginning of the end for the human race. For what men first thought were meteors or the often ridiculed flying saucers are in reality the flaming vanguard of the invasion from Mars. This could be the beginning of the end for the human race. For what men first thought were meteors or the often ridiculed flying saucers are in reality the flaming vanguard of the invasion from Mars.
Jack Chrysler.
Sorry, we're back. I got all discombobulated there. I don't know what was happening. Don't worry about that.
It's coming.
It's coming. Yeah, I was like, I thought the trailer was longer than that. Like, thought I had more time. Damn it! What are you gonna do? Well, that was a trailer for War of the Worlds. And you know, again, I don't think they showed you any alien. I think you get to see the ships in that trailer.
Yeah. Big meteor-looking thing.
Right. It's still pretty cool. And of course, you know, one of the most famous adaptations of that story isn't even a filmed adaptation. It's a radio play. Which scared the wits out of people. Kind of overreported, but still, you know, had made a big impression. And you know, I mean, again, it's funny how, even like tonight's show is kind of like it came at a time whenever like the transition was being made from radio to television. And it was kind of this weird thing where radio had this really high reputation for being known to like really push boundaries and do like experimental things and take risks, and Orson Welles' War of the Worlds broadcast is like a prime example of that. For obvious reasons. But television is not quite
Did they tell people that it was gonna be fake, or did
I think that there was like a disclaimer at the beginning and like a disclaimer at the end. Yeah, but like most of the broadcast was like totally uninterrupted, but they made it sound like it was like regular news reports, and it's here's a dance program, and it's actually, and then breaking news, and it's
it's happening.
People can't see what's going on. They can't see like if it's if it's shoddy, like a shoddy job or not. Like if you're just hearing it, it sounds compelling enough. So TV kind of like had a high bar to get up to when it came to like trying inventive things, and again, it wasn't really the same whenever you can kind of see how shoddily certain things can be put together. But every once in a while you get surprised by some effects, and they do try some, as we saw in I think the final episode, Lights Out, we watched, there are attempts to break the fourth wall a little bit, and to kind of like, again, I don't know if you remember that episode, but it started with like the host talking, and all of a sudden like it's like a TV being cut off, and it like zooms out and you're in a living room. And there's like a little bit of a cool effect to that, but it's still, TV kind of had this reputation early on of being kind of lowbrow, and you can't really, it's not as high class as radio. But what are you gonna do?
You get somebody like H.G. Wells involved.
Yeah, you get a good name.
You gotta class up the joint.
Yeah, you gotta get a classy name like H.G. Wells, who's apparently, I believe, if you actually heard him talk, he just sounds like a high-pitched Cockney accented gentleman. And I don't know. I mean, again, the man wrote some amazing stories. Invisible Man. What's the other one that's The Time Machine. Bunch of other stuff. So this is probably not one of his more well-known stories, but so far, interesting. We gotta see how it shakes out. If you're just tuning in, our guy just saw an alien, and that was it. That's where we ended. So I don't know. Any predictions, Evan? Any thoughts as to what our protagonist plans to do about this alien?
Well, I think that our mysterious stranger is probably not going to like him poking around with that crystal egg.
That's a very good point. I forgot about our mysterious stranger. He might have something to
something to say about that.
He might. He's high. I mean, he's already, hadn't he already invested £5 in this thing?
Well, two and a half or something.
Is that he paid half now, and he's paying half?
Yeah, he had to go get the rest of the money.
Oh, yeah, okay.
However much money that was back in the day.
I guess a lot. I don't know the currency over there. I never.
Like it was a lot.
I just thought a pound was just, I don't know. It didn't seem like a lot to me, but I guess it's a lot. No, I guess especially compared to a bob or a quid. Couldn't tell you. And I gotta say, I don't think any of these people are actually British.
You don't think that lady was?
I don't think that lady was. I definitely know that the professor's, I'm pretty sure, student girlfriend, I'm pretty sure she's definitely not British. Her accent keeps going southern and American northern. It just keeps going all over the place. She doesn't know what she's doing. And she flubbed the line.
World.
Yeah. So get to enjoy more terrible accents. All right, anything else before we get into it, Evan?
I got nothing. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
I already gave you my timestamp, right?
Yeah.
All right, then we're going to go ahead and get into the exciting conclusion of Tales of Tomorrow, The Crystal Egg, right now. What? Hell?
Whoa.
Is that like the solar system?
Looks like it's missing something.
The sun? He's gonna use the crystal as a sun. That's what he really needed, the crystal for his art project. What?
Professor, but I have to see you. I have to have the egg back.
You have to have it now?
Yeah, yes. The young man keeps returning every few hours, and now he'll pay me £10, and that's a lot of money.
No, not for that crystal. You let me keep it a few days more.
No, I'm sorry, Professor. Is it...
No. Hold on here. Now, you listen to me for just a minute, Mr. Dave. Look, now listen carefully. That crystal, it has a world inside of it. Here, let me show you something. Here, come in here to my workroom. Here. Now watch. Watch carefully. Watch. The room has to be completely dark.
Uh-oh.
Now you watch carefully. Dave!
And now they are treating it like a football.
Dave, come back here! Don't sell it, Dave! I'll pay her any offer you get.
Yeah, man, that crystal. Woo. Doing a number on him. What's all this in? Wait, what were they both doing at the shop?
Yeah. I'm just going anti-king.
Dave. Mr. Dave.
It's supposed to be lost. We're close, can't you see? Oh, you, Professor. Oh, he was a good man, Charles. He was a good man. He had his faults, but who hasn't?
What happened?
Haven't you read it? Splashed all over the morning papers it was. Oh, it's horrible.
It was.
His head all bashed in.
What has happened? Where?
In an alley. They left him to die in an alley. Beast. There must have been.
They?
The police said it must have been at least 200 jobs they done.
Okay. The egg. Please. This is Dave. So the police found it. Did they find the egg?
I meant to ask you about that. Where is it?
Well, Mr. Dave took it last night.
What? I don't believe it.
Didn't the police mention it? Say anything about it?
No.
No. The man who wanted to buy it. What did he look like?
Look like what? He looked like a man, of course. What do you suppose?
Nice.
Oh, yeah. See? He looked like the man.
Miss Swan over here.
Yeah, well, yes, I know. He looked like a man.
You look like a man.
He's a crab on ears. Wouldn't be surprised if he'd stolen it himself. Professor Hook.
Returning to the scene of the crime.
Watch out, you're gonna go through the backdrop.
Probably thinks I killed poor Cave. If I told the police I saw Cave last night, they wouldn't believe me without that egg. The egg? Where is it? Who took it? Without the egg, nobody believed me. My story means nothing without the egg. Even my colleagues wouldn't believe me. With the dean?
Yes, Vanyek. Mars in a crystal egg.
Well, Vanyek, there's no need of my telling you, I suppose, that your story has been making the rounds of the faculty room. No, I don't care to discuss the matter, but if it should be brought to my attention again, I'm afraid I shall have to resort to some course or other. Poor man. Poor man.
He's insane, that's what he is. He believes it. He must be insane. Nice old Vanyek.
Mars. Imagine, he says he's seen Mars in an egg.
Fools! Can't they understand me? Can't they hear me?
It's eating you up. Why don't you let it out? It's that egg, isn't it? That thing.
Look at me, Georgette. They only know me as a scholar. You know me as a man. You know me better than any one of them. Tell me something. Am I mad? Tell me. Have I gone mad?
Oh, no, Frederick. If what you say is true, if the egg is dangerous, if it must be found, then I believe it. I believe anything you say is true.
It is true. It must be true. It has to be true. I'll see my friend Walker. If he'll publish my story, well, then they'll have to believe it. They'll have to believe it.
Music is pretty good.
Open it and state your case.
Make me an offer.
Well, look at you. You're fat enough to be triplets. Sit down, sit down. What brings you into this?
It's a compliment, I guess.
An article, I hope.
As a matter of fact, yes. An article. Do I have to brief you, or do you know the comic details?
I'm an old friend, Vanyek. An old friend overhear things. Sometimes they listen, but they never turn their back. If you hadn't sought me out, I should come to see you.
Thank you, Walker. I believe that.
What can I do for you? Anything in my power.
Publish my article. You publish it, and then they believe me.
I should have to read it first. I'm a friend, yes, but I'm an editor, too.
Then you're rejected. That's what you're saying.
Vanyek, may I be frank?
Please.
Let's suppose that what I have heard is substantially the truth. That Vanyek, a professor at Cambridge University, has discovered a crystal which reveals Mars. Now, we assume that.
Yes.
And I publish this information in my magazine, read by scientists throughout the world. Vanyek, where does that leave me?
Oh, with Leeuwenhoek and Galileo. Yes, with Leeuwenhoek.
Wow.
When he peered through his microscope and saw a mass of life and they laughed at him. With Galileo, when he pointed his telescope and saw something so bright that it shook the earth. Impossible, they said. Galileo is mad. Leeuwenhoek is mad. All who see first are mad. Then the world sees and the madmen become heroes. Now listen to me, Walker. I too know what I have seen, and I'll scream it to the world. I saw Mars through a crystal egg.
But Vanyek, Leeuwenhoek had his microscope. Galileo had his telescope. Ultimately,
He's not even telling everybody the craziest thing.
where is your
Yeah.
crystal egg?
Where is my crystal egg?
I couldn't publish. I'm not thinking of myself, I'm thinking of you, your reputation. Your life as a scientist is at stake.
I know all that.
And you're willing to risk that?
But I must. Don't you understand? I saw him. I saw
him watching us.
I don't understand that, Vanek. I don't understand that at all.
That crystal must have been put there on purpose. Don't you understand? Through that crystal, they're seeing us night and day. They're watching us in unguarded hours. Why are they watching us, Walker? Tell me that. Why are they watching us?
Now, Vanek.
Oh. Oh, yes. I've seen that look in the eyes of all the others. Poor Vanyek has gone mad.
No, Vanek. Not like this. Don't go.
Not like this.
This is my story. Here's the record. Listen to it well. For if I'm to meet the same fate as poor old Cave, and something tells me this is so, then perhaps what I've recorded here may impress my esteemed colleagues. Somewhere in our world the crystal exists. Find it. Find the crystal. For through it they're watching us. Watching our every move. They are...
Oh my God.
Jeez.
Crack. Ooh. No! Oh, come on. No. Is that really it?
I think that's it. That's our ending.
Oh, man.
Wow. Jeez. Jeez, heavy ending.
I mean, see, Science Fiction League of America. That was the consortium of like writers, and I don't know. Obviously, H.G. Wells was dead by this point, so I don't know how they pulled that off. But wow, my goodness. I don't know how I feel. That was Tales of Tomorrow, The Crystal Egg. What did we think, Evan?
It makes me want to go read the short story now. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to know what the ending of the short story is, because I don't know, the ending you can kind of fill in what they aren't showing you. You know, like they don't show you that the person listening to the record is the guy that wanted the crystal in the beginning, but it probably is. But you still don't know what that guy's whole deal was, you know?
Yeah. Is he an alien? Is he Men in Black? What?
Could be. Now that's actually an interesting theory that I didn't consider. And obviously I think that would be way over their heads at this time. But who knows? Maybe he was a Man in Black. I did not note the color of his coat, but it's probably. So that's a good theory, Evan. I like that. Makes it more interesting to think about it that way, you know? Yeah, it definitely wasn't bad, you know? I wanted to see the alien again. I guess that's my real disappointment, you know?
Yeah. It's older, the story. It's older than I thought it would be.
Is it from like the early 1900s?
It's from 1897.
Okay, gotcha.
Back in the 1890s.
Yeah, right on the cusp of that century turn. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what if the actual short story fleshes out some of the details here, because I mean, it is an interesting story. It's definitely an intriguing story.
Man, so the magazine that it was published in looks like it has stories by H.G. Wells, Jules Verne, and Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh shit!
A mighty lineup.
Yeah, man, that's that trio. My gosh. Yeah, you're gonna have a hell of an anthology there.
Yeah.
Those guys.
That actually might have been a later. Maybe that was a reprint, but
probably.
They're all around that same time.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny the way that like Jules Verne and H.G. Wells were kind of two of the like single-handed influences when it came to like, you know, science fiction. And I mean, again, I'm just now connecting the dots. The fact that we talked about H.G. Wells on this past Friday when we watched Metropolis, because he was an inspiration to Fritz Lang and to Thea von Harbo when they were coming up with a story for that. So, and as we know, he did not like the movie. But he probably would not have liked this television show if he had lived long. It seemed like
I wonder what he would have thought of the alien.
Now, that's a good question. I mean, you said you saw an illustration for War of the Worlds. Do you know, was that with the original printing?
Let me pull that.
Because that would be the thing to like, because I'm a very big believer in like, what's the intent of the author? You know, what do they really like? What do they really have in mind whenever they were writing this, or when it comes to a film when they're filming it?
Okay, so the picture that I saw was from the French translation.
Okay.
War of the Worlds, so maybe that wasn't in the original.
Yeah, it'd be. I mean, again, if pictures were published along with the original, then we're like, okay, I would imagine that he signed off on the look of, if they had pictures of the aliens, what they would look like. Yeah, I mean, he was kind of notoriously picky about other people's interpretations of his work. I don't know that he liked the Invisible Man movie. I can't remember if he liked that or not. I know he saw it. But I don't know. I mean, definitely a sci-fi master, so it makes sense for this show to tackle one of his I guess I don't know if it's lesser known, you know? I don't know, maybe it's one of his well-known short stories, but I hadn't heard of it outside of this, so new to me, probably new to everyone. So but yeah, that was The Crystal Egg. So pretty solid installment so far. 3 episodes in, I'd say Tales of Tomorrow is pretty it's pretty enjoyable show.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I think of all the shows we've watched so far, Lights Out has been my favorite, and I'd say this is like on par with that, definitely. So we'll see how these other episodes can shape my feelings on it. They can take the spot of my favorite show that we've watched. I don't know. Lights Out set a high bar, so again, we'll see what Tales of Tomorrow has to offer over the next few weeks. And
yeah, next week we need 2 aliens.
Well,
it's really up the ante.
See, that would really that's what we've got to do. I've got to every week I'm trying to find an episode that gets a little more interesting, gets a little more intense. We'll see. And we won't. have an alien next week. We won't be time traveling next week. We won't be watching any Tales of Tomorrow next week. There will be no mini-sode on Wednesday, but we still will be doing the main show next Friday. So, that's not, that's not going to be affected. But I won't be able to do the show on Wednesday, so we'll be taking next Wednesday off. So, little break on Tales of Tomorrow. So we'll get our next episode of this 2 Wednesdays from now. But like I said, next Friday we'll be going, and of course this Friday we'll be getting into our 3rd episode of season 9, and we're getting back to a good old fashioned 60s exploitation film, because this Friday we're going to be watching The Sadist from 1963, which is actually a true crime film based on the crimes of Charles Starkweather in the late 50s. And this is obviously it's a dramatization. It's not a straight adaptation. But it should be interesting. It's an independent film, outside of Hollywood, and made by some interesting characters. The star who's playing the killer character, Arch Hall Jr. He's an interesting 1960s movie. I don't know. And we'll see multiple of his movies. This is our first one of his movies. So he had a few movies in the 60s that are notoriously of varying quality. Let's say that. Because apparently from what I've heard about, I haven't seen The Sadist, but I've heard it's not bad. He did another movie called Ega, on the other hand, which is called one of the worst films of all time, which is also public domain. We will be watching Ega. We may have that for our next summer of schlock. But we're gonna be easing in with The Sadist on Friday, and of course, as always, Evan brings us a wonderful cocktail to pair with the evening's film in a little segment which we call
What Were You Drinking?
What are we gonna be drinking this Friday, Evan?
Well, this week we might be turning ourselves into masochists.
Whoa.
We're going to be drinking the Psychopathia Sexualis. This is a kind of a super martini cocktail.
Okay.
Yeah, it's equal parts gin, sherry, dry vermouth, and sweet vermouth, and orange bitters. So,
Man.
there's a bit going on here. This is gonna be a powerful one.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to try this, and I'm sure the audience might be intrigued to know just what the hell Psychopathia Sexualis means, but we'll get into that on Friday.
Evan will have the breakdown. I don't think that we've it's been a while since we've had a cocktail this heavy, if the word is if that's the appropriate word,
Yeah,
so,
we've been coming in pretty light so far this seasons, but this time we're kicking it up.
Kicking it into high gear this Friday. So that'll be good.
See this movie.
Yeah, I mean this will be interesting. Again, I have not seen it, but it's a story that's been adapted and kind of used as an inspiration in many other films and a few horror films actually. So it'll be interesting because this is probably the first adaptation of the story. And so it's just got a lot of the kind of things that we love on this program. And so I think it'll be an enjoyable film. So you can catch that this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Twitch. And of course, if you want to catch up on any of our past episodes, you can go find those over on our YouTube page at ScreamStream Live. check those out, like and subscribe, and get all caught up on season 9. Where this will be our 3rd episode, so we're coming in hot. We're just getting started. Season 9 sounds like a lot, but plenty of public domain horror movies to go.
We're only getting started.
We really are. So again, Scream Stream live for all that good stuff. Of course, if you want to find Evan's drink recipe for the drink on Friday, if you can't keep track of if you didn't write them down, or if you can't just rewind this video, then you can find the recipe for that cocktail over on our Instagram page. We're over there at Scream Stream Show. Also on X and TikTok at Scream Stream Show. Of course, if you want to follow us on the socials, you can find me over on X at Spakenstein, and Mr. Evan Sink is on X and Instagram at Caligari Cursed. Anything before we sign off tonight, Evan?
Do you think H.G. Wells predicted streaming? I think that alien was about to say like and subscribe right before he looked away.
Yeah. Hey, check out my channel. Yeah, you could see it in his eye. Until Friday. Sweet screams, everybody.
And to all, a good fright.